Hi, my name's Harper Fendler. I'm the cocktail resident here at Food 52, and today in cocktail class we are talking about drink ratios. All right, drink ratios, formulas. A lot of famous formulas in the world. I can think of Pythagoras, other people and other famous formulas, and I'm sure you can think of a couple other ones. But with cocktails, a lot of these ratios are going to be the building blocks and foundations for just about any drink you can imagine. And then once you know them, you're going to be able to apply that to your own cocktail making and expand your knowledge exponentially. So before we get into the exact ratios that we're going to be talking about, let's talk about what makes a balanced drink. No matter what, whether it's going to be stirred and spirit forward or shaken and maybe a little more refreshing and citrus forward, we want it to be balanced. We want it to come out clean. We want it slightly bitter. We want to taste the alcohol. We don't want all those flavors muddying together. We want it a little sweet. That sweetness is going to add body and mouthfeel. A great example of that would be a Negroni. This is our equal parts example for today. It's 3 elements, all of equal volume, 1 to 1 to 1. The beauty of a Negroni is in its simplicity. So we have equal parts of our base spirit, equal parts of something sweet, and equal parts of something a little bit bitter. Gin as the kind of foundational element are the things that the 2 other ingredients pivot around. Oftentimes we're going to be using London dry styles. So we're getting notes of fresh citrus like lemon, orange, maybe some juniper, some other herbs that might be added depending on which distiller is making it. Element number 1. Element number 2, sweet vermouth, aromatized and fortified wine. Sweet vermouth, going to be a higher sugar content, herbs and spices infused into it. This is the element of the drink that's adding a lot of body and rounding it out. Lastly, we have our bitter element. We have Campari. Campari is an Italian Amaro. In the wide world of Amari, Italian Amari, this is going to be on the higher, lighter end. This is a bright, bitter orange Amaro. These 3 components all together make a complete drink. There are a couple of easy substitutions that we can make to expand our knowledge of a few cocktails. One easy substitution would be to swap out the gin and instead bring in bourbon. This is no longer a Negroni, this is now a Boulevardier. It's still an equal parts drink, and that Venn diagram of complementary flavors still works really well together. With bourbon, instead of the brighter floral notes that we were expecting with gin, instead we have earthier, woodier notes. So we have a little bit of orange, some oak, and vanilla. All those flavors work really well with the Campari and sweet vermouth. We're getting something a little bit warmer, a little bit darker, a little bit heavier of a drink, and it's just one substitution. I've brought the gin back in for our equal parts discussion. We're back to a Negroni build right here, but we're gonna swap out one other thing before we move on. I swap out this sweet vermouth for another Amaro. So now we've brought in a little Cynar. This is within that wide world of Italian Amari, whereas the Campari is on the brighter, kind of bitter, fresh citrus side. Cynar is going to be at the other end of the scale. It's going to be darker, deeper, it's going to have a higher sugar content as well, so it's a lot richer. That's why it works as a sweet vermouth substitute. It plays really well with those bitter elements of the Campari, but it has its own sweet elements. It's really round, it has a wonderful mouthfeel, and you get these great earth notes to it. It's actually an artichoke-based Amaro. This is a great Negroni riff to play around with, and again, still playing in equal parts. So we're gonna wrap on this, and we're gonna move into our next ratio, which is the golden ratio. The golden ratio is the ratio of 2-1-1. That's 2 parts spirit, 1 part citrus, and 1 part sugar. That's it. Thanks for joining me. Till next time, cheers. This is a formula that is really helpful to remember. This is a foundational element for a lot of typical tropical drinks with a lot of citrus. Once you remember that ratio, you can do pretty much anything you want. Right here in front of me, I have a build for a pretty classic daiquiri. I have 2 parts rum, 1 part lime juice, and 1 part of a simple syrup. This is just a 1-to-1 of sugar and water. That is your basic sour build using the golden ratio. The beauty of a golden ratio is that it is easy, again, to swap things in and out. If I don't want to use rum, guess what? I can bring in a bit of gin. Now instead of a daiquiri, I have a gimlet. If I wanted to swap that out, I can bring in vodka. Now I have a vodka gimlet. And I can even swap this out and bring in a little bit of tequila. And now I have what's known as a Tommy's Margarita, where it's just the tequila, the sugar, and the lime juice. From the golden ratio, we can actually expand on this a little more and get into the world of daisies that the margarita is born from. Margarita in Spanish means daisy. So instead of just the sugar, we are now going to introduce sugar and a liqueur. So this is what's known as a daisy. A daisy is a derivative of a sour. So now we have our 2-part spirit, 1 part citrus, and we've split the sugar aspect of it. So now we have both sugar and a liqueur. Here are our ratio drinks. We have our equal parts, we have our golden ratio, and we have our daisy. These are all really easy formulas to remember and really easy to riff off of as well. So I hope you try it out and you have some fun. Okay, thank you everyone for joining me today in cocktail class. Give these a shot and let me know what you think. Till next time, cheers.